As our calves are getting lined up out there, I'll do a few introductions here before our show starts. The two men we have in the ring right here is Mr. Elmo Gray. He's going to help in the ring. Mr. Jake Gillespie. He's another one of our real good ringmen right here. Jake and his wife, Erin, they had a little boy. But, 2 months ago, Jake? Named him Oliver. And I bet he's going to show calves on down the road. Yeah, this is Jake from Farm Bureau. I don't know what he's wearing, but Farm Bureau is better than State Farm, right? Our judge today is Mr. Marcus Arnold. He's from Winterset, Iowa. Raise your hand there, will you, Marcus? There he is. Welcome to the Montgomery County Beef Show. You come with high regard there from Austin there, but don't believe everything Austin says. Marcus went to Texas Tech University and Colorado State. He was on the judging team at Butler. Currently works for Elanco. He judged a lot of state and county shows, and we sure want to welcome him to the Montgomery County Beef Show. Our beef superintendents, Mr. Austin Sorensen and his wife Sydney there, they do a good job. They always have, and they've been, here again, good supporters of the youth. Okay, bring in the first class of breeding heifers. One more to go. Ready to go now. Here comes Aniston. First one in the ring will be Tana Damewood with her shorthorn heifer. These are breeding heifers. Second one in the ring is also Tana Damewood's heifer. And the third one in the ring will be Aniston Poston. 3 shorthorn breeding heifers to start our breeding heifer show here today at the county fair.
morning to you folks ringside. It's certainly a pleasure to have the opportunity to be here this morning. Couldn't think of a greater extracurricular activity than showing cattle and getting the opportunity to show cattle. I know that it's been a tough year for a lot of people and a lot of counties, and I know for you young people there was a big question lingering around the beginning of March is if you're going to get to show your projects. And for those of you that show cattle projects, this is a longer period of time that you have to work with these animals, and so you didn't know if you're going to have a county fair. And so it's awesome that we're here this morning. We've got a good, cool morning. You guys have an awesome facility, and so I think it's going to be a great day. And as we start into our cattle show, the young lady here in the front is going to be first, a really big body type of female, a really moderate, practical type of heifer, and really as you compare it to the two other cattle right in behind her, I think she just overwhelms them in terms of rib, body, and practicality. I don't know that she's maybe just the most attractive up through her front end. I'd hook her top line up maybe just a little bit smoother, but getting pretty critical on one that I think just from the fundamental standpoint of her practicality and her rib and her body probably needs to be the one that goes ahead and leads off. The young lady heifer that comes in second, I think she does a really nice job with hers. Young lady heifer gets out on the stride and really meets her stride really well. Sound-footed type of female, I really like those things about her. She might be a touch just longer, more extended up to her front end, a really long body type of female, and I appreciate those attributes about her. I guess for me, she's maybe one that gets just a touch off in her top line as well. And in comparison to that lead-off heifer, I don't know that she's maybe quite as bold in terms of her rib and her body. I'd like to just pull her down ever so slightly in regards to her flank, but just a nice type of fundamental female that needs to stay in second. Young dance heifer that's going to be coming in third, substitute showman. The young lady had both of these heifers here in 2 and 3. A really modern heifer, again, one that's pulled the lead. She meets her stride. She's really sound-footed. I appreciate those attributes about her. I guess as we step in behind her, she's maybe not as dimensional as the two other heifers right in front of her. I just give her a shot more body and a shot more dimension to get more competitive within this respective class. But what a great way to start. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcus. Winning that class and being champion shorthorn breeding heifer is Aniston Poston with a purple. Reserve went to Tana Damewood with a purple. And third went to Tana Damewood with a blue. This is our first class of commercial breeding heifers now in the ring. There's just one in here, and that's Lily Anderson.
As we get started into our commercial show, the young lady brings us a nice single entry, and young lady, if it's okay with you, I'm going to let you be the class winner here. I think that one that could use some competition, but definitely a big-footed type of female. She gets out. She's really sound-footed. I appreciate those aspects of her. I think just in terms of her moderation, there's some things that you could like. She's a really long body. I think a female just proportionally needs to maybe balance up just a touch better. Here from the side, the deeper part on her is probably her chest, and as we get back into her flank, I'd like to see her just with a touch more body, just to give her a more cowy look. But young lady, you're doing a really good job there with that heifer. Congratulations.
Winning that class was Lily Anderson with a blue. That's our first class of commercial heifers. Coming in with our second class of commercial heifers, Briar Fisher just came through the ring. And the other exhibitor is Sam Lindgren. This is our second class of commercial breeding heifers. I see our fair board president is here today. She's sitting down on the seat. Amy Lydell, stand up. Let's give Amy and her crew a real nice round of applause. It's been a trying year this year, right? But you came through. Your crew came through, and we're proud of you. Thanks to you. The whole bunch, right? I used to work for Amy out at the sale barn out there when her and Mark used it, or I mean not used it, owned it. And one thing about Amy, she spoke soft but carried a big stick. We had a lot of fun, didn't we? A lot of fun.
Two nice females these young men bring in, and I think this pair gets really competitive. There's a lot of trade-offs between the two, and I think you could really make a strong case to go either way. The young man that comes in, we're going to leave them the way they came in. That young man's going to be first. I think a really nice, smooth blending female from the profile. I guess it's just her added look of femininity and balance and the way that she's shaped that probably hits me a little bit harder in comparison to the one that comes in second. I'd like to stouten her up in her bone work, maybe loosen her up out of her hip and her hog just ever so slightly, and that's where the longer body heifer has the bigger advantage. She's definitely stouter in her bone work. She gets out with more reach to her hock, and I like those things about her. I read her maybe to be a touch plainer through her lower body and her forerib, a long body female that just proportionally maybe doesn't balance up quite like that female ahead of her, but a really nice pair there in 1 and 2. Both of those are nice females. Congratulations to both those exhibitors.
Two really nice heifers there to be first and second in that class. First went to Briar Fisher with a purple. Second went to Sam Lindgren with a purple. This is our third class of commercial heifers. The young lady here is Taylor Yates. And the young man here again is Briar Fisher. Two heifers in this class of commercial heifers.
And then blue.
Okay, the black heifer first.
Yes, sir. Another nice competitive pair, and for me, the young man's black heifer is going to go ahead and win. I think in this respective duo, she's definitely one that paints just a higher quality image from the side. Really like her attractive set to her hip and her hind leg, and because of that attractive set, I think she gets out, utilizes her feet and legs maybe a touch more functional than the heifer that comes right in behind her in second. Just a really smooth blending, really high quality female that's going to go ahead and lead off. Not to take anything away from the red heifer, the young lady's got a really big body type of female. I think a female that's really practical in her kind. I like those things about her. It's just when she gets out on the move that she gets maybe a touch more rigid in her rear leg and the way she takes it to the ground. I'd like to loosen her up in her structural build just to give her more just cushion and flex there out of her hind leg. But a nice competitive pair. Congratulations to both those exhibitors.
Again, two really outstanding commercial breeding heifers. First in that class goes to Briar Fisher with a purple. Second to Taylor Yates with a blue. This is our last class of commercial breeding heifers. The young lady coming into the ring is Chloe Bruce. After this class, Our judge will be selecting the champion commercial breeding heifer.
Young lady brings us a nice single entry, and again, I think this one will win pretty comfortably, but one that could use some competition. Just a really just cowy type of female. I liked her rib, her body, just her practicality, and I think a female that is really functional in her skeletal build as well. I like those attributes about her, and I think a heifer that is 3 months along, you can definitely tell she's in calf, and I think she's one that just looks like a good breeding female in terms of her rib, her body, her practicality. Maybe the only thing I'd like to change today about her is her attitude a little bit, but a nice heifer that the young lady brings us. We'll see her back in a little bit. Congratulations.
Congratulations to Chloe Bruce. She receives the purple, the only one in that class. Now our judge will be selecting our champion commercial breeding heifer. Young lady that's coming in here, the one in the first class, is Lily Anderson. Briar Fisher right here with the third. And that's Briar Fisher's heifer. That's the Baldy heifer there, won the second class. And then Chloe Bruce there. This is for champion commercial breeding heifer.
a good group of heifers here in our commercial heifer division, and I think it's one that gets really competitive, maybe between two in particular in my mind, but we'll kind of run through the lineup real quickly. The young lady up front there, she's got a really long-sided, a really nice structurally sound type of female, one that within this respect, young lady, I think could use maybe just a little bit more body, but I like the fact that she's sound, I like her length, I think you've done some nice things with her. Heifer running behind her, I think one that you appreciate her femininity, you appreciate her smoothness. I think maybe in comparison to the two other heifers directly behind her, it's a little bit frailer in her bone work, and I don't know that she's maybe quite as just massive in terms of her build and just presentation, but definitely think that's a nice type of female. I think there's a lot of quality in her. I think the young lady's got a good one. She's sound and correct as well, and so there's a lot to really appreciate in her. I guess for me, it gets a little bit closer between the two that are directly in behind her, the one that comes out of our third class, and the young lady that comes out of our fourth class. The young man that comes out of our third class, I really love the smoothness in this female. I really like where she's at from a condition standpoint in her age right now. She's going to be a moderate heifer. I think one that, in comparison to the heifer behind her, probably reads more attractive in her top line. She's smoother in that regard. She's smoother blending in her shoulder, in her forerib. I think she's one that is just more genuine in her condition right now. And then she gets out on the go. I like the way that she sets her rear leg down, maybe just a notch more, just flexible there in her hock, and doesn't maybe get as touch rigid there in her pastern in comparison to that other one. But maybe just like to see her just a touch bolder there in her lower body in comparison to that heifer that comes out of the fourth class. But I really like a lot of things about the heifer that comes out of class 3. Heifer that comes out of class 4, like I said, within that respective class, the young lady had a single entry there that I thought could use more competition because I thought there was a lot of quality in that female. She's so big-bodied, she's so cowy in her look, in her presentation, and yet she's really stout in her feature, and I like those things about her. She's got tons of bone, and I really like that. It kind of builds into and matches up with her stoutness and power. Maybe not just as just fresh, and maybe not quite as youthful as the heifer up front. I think she has just a touch more on her in regards to condition. That's more evident with her chest just sitting out maybe just a little bit more. More importantly, though, when we get those cattle on the lead, I think that heifer gets just a touch off in her top line and maybe doesn't want to sit down quite as soft and quite as comfortable there in her rear leg where she takes it to the ground, and that becomes more evident the way she's posed up and standing right there. And seeing that, young man here, you're going to be our champion. I like that female quite a bit. Congratulations.
Champion commercial breeding heifer goes to Briar Fisher. Bring in the second place heifer in that class. Taylor Yates. Again, some of you that wasn't here at the start of the show, our judge today is Marcus Arnold from Winterset, Iowa. He went to Texas Tech University, Colorado State, is on the judging team at Butler. He currently works for Elanco, and I believe he's also in the Angus cattle business. Right, Marcus? He's talking to the boss now. Marcus, we're going to take up a collection for you in Austin. A razor and some shaving cream. I gave Austin a razor and shaving cream last year, but he said he lost it. Yeah. I think forward there comes that heifer. I think you'll agree with me. We don't have many breeding heifers in our county, but what we have. are pretty good quality, and these are the factories that'll make the herds on down the road. There she comes. Taylor Yates.
The young lady brings the red heifer in for reserve contention, and within that respective class, like we talked about, I think a female that is really moderate. She's long-bodied, she has plenty of rib and body, and I think she's got the fundamentals to be a good cow for the young lady. I think in a competitive lineup, I'd probably just change her hind leg assembly just a scotch, but I definitely think that's going to be a good cow. There's another one that I talked about quite a bit, and I think is really competitive for that champion honor. So in saying that, young lady that comes out of her last class will have our reserve champion. A lot of good things about that one. Congratulations.
Reserve breeding heifer goes to Chloe Bruce. Champion, Briar Fisher, congratulations. Reserve, Chloe Bruce. And congratulations to all you other kids. Really brought some good heifers here to the breeding heifer show. Now our judge will be selecting our overall champion breeding heifer. Champion Shorthorn was shown by Aniston Poston. She's coming in here. And she will show against Briar Fisher for Supreme Champion Breeding Heifer. Sponsors of our overall champion breeding heifer is Nelson, Simmental, and Angus. If you're here, go back here by the backdrop so we can get your pictures. And Reserve is sponsored by Kathy and Dave Hart of Hart Farms. If you're here, we'd like to get your pictures. Oh, okay. I was just notified they're not having pictures because of the COVID deal. They're just having pictures of the kids. Everybody keep a big smile on your face. We got a candid camera up here. KCSI is videoing the deal, and we want to thank you for your coverage up there, young lady.
As we wrap up here with our heifer show, I think a nice pair of division champions, and I think two females that exhibit a lot of quality and a lot of just fundamental traits that are really important in the industry. And I think your announcer, Mr. Bob over here, said it best in saying that there's quality females, especially up top here in your show. You may not have had the biggest of heifer shows today, but what you do have will be good foundation females for these young people to go build herds around and make breeding projects around it. So that couldn't be more true, and I completely agree with Bob's comments and think that the females that we have had in our breeding heifer show going to be good breeding resources, breeding tools for these young people to go build some nice just projects around it. So I think they've done a great job. Before I start talking any of the cattle, those of you ringside, big round of applause for these exhibitors. Really nice show. As we bring both of our division champions out here, we'll talk about each of them briefly and where I think each of them has maybe some advantages and maybe some things that you would change about each of them. The Shorthorn heifer, I think, is just so cowy in her look. We talked about her being just really practical in her rib and her body. Just a low maintenance type of female long term, and I really like those things about her. She's still really sound, and I appreciate her structural build, just a really correct female in that regard. I think in comparison to the heifer right in behind her, she gets a touch plainer up to her front end where her neck ties into her shoulder, and I'd like to hook her up right in her top line, maybe just a nickel better, but I think that female from her shoulder back is just so cowy in her presentation and her appearance. Not many shorthorn females, purebred shorthorn females like that, and I definitely think the young lady's got something there to be proud of. The young man's commercial heifer, we talked about her just being really smooth from the side. I think she's got a great female look up to her front end. I think she blends really smooth in her shoulder and her body. She's just got a great shape. She's so collected in her top line, and then she builds on just a really attractive look by having just a really attractive and good set there to her hip and her hind leg. Yeah, I think more importantly, when we pull the cattle to lead, she's really sound, she's really functional. I think she just takes a look of quality maybe to another level. And so in saying that, let's give a big round of applause here to the young man. He's going to have our champion heifer. Congratulations.
Supreme Champion Breeding Heifer goes to Briar Fisher. Congratulations, young man. Our judge will be selecting the reserve Supreme Breeding Heifer. Entering the ring now is Chloe Bruce, the champion commercial heifer. She will go against the shorthorn heifer here for reserve.
The other young lady here with a commercial heifer comes in for reserve contention. Super big body, super stout, super dimensional type of female. We got kind of critical of her in that division and the way that she's maybe made up through her front end and her shoulder. Maybe from a condition standpoint, maybe one you'd like to just tone back just a touch, but I think a female that still exhibits a lot of quality. She's been my second favorite here in our lineup. Young lady, you're going to have our reserve champion. Congratulations.
Reserve goes to Chloe Bruce with her champion commercial. That is our breeding heifer show for today, and we'll go into our cow-calf division. Again, sponsoring the champion breeding heifer trophy goes to is Nelson Simmental and Angus, and reserve is Dave and Kathy Hart. Thanks to those sponsors. Here comes our first class of commercial cow-calf pairs. Madison Doyle. First one here in the ring. And Carson Poston with her cow-calf here coming into the ring. First class of commercial cow-calf pairs.
to another level, and I think it becomes more evident by the calves that are there by their side. Young lady here with the more blonde cow and the bronco-faced calf there is going to lead us off within this respective class. Cow's in really good shape. She's really long-bodied. I think a cow that at 7 years old is in really good shape. She's got some stoutness. She's got some power yet. I still think she's really sound in terms of her structural build. I'd probably give her just a touch more moderation. She might be just hip height wise, just a touch bigger than I probably prefer, but not to discredit her by any means. She's got a super nice calf there by her side. I think one that balances up and just offers a great deal of quality, and I like that one just a great deal. So this pair is going to be first, not to discredit the young man and the young lady here with their pair. It's going to be second. I think the cow there, first time heifer, she's done a good job with this calf, and I think a show project the young lady talked about, and you can tell she's really excited about that calf, and as she should be. Just a really practical cow. She stayed in really good shape. Maybe in comparison, not just as overall, just dimensional, maybe not as correct in comparison, but a lot of good things that I like about the cow. Really nice calf that the young lady brings us. Congratulations to those exhibitors as well.
Two excellent cow-calf pair there. First went to Karsten Poston with a purple. Second, Madison Doyle with a blue. It's our second class of cow-calf pairs. This is our seed stock cow-calf pairs. Delaney Yates with the smoky cow and calf, and Tana Damewood with the red cow and calf. Two pair in this class, and then we'll be selecting overall grand champion cow-calf pair.
As we get into the second cow-calf pair class, I really think it gets more competitive, and I think there's give and take between both of these respective pairs. I think the Charolais cow there you really like in terms of her rib, her body, her teeth placement is really correct. She's got a high-performing stout type of calf there by her side, and then you take the Shorthorn here that might be milked down a little harder, but she's definitely got a great great teeth structure underneath her, and yet she's got an ultra high-quality calf there by her side. And so, in saying that, I think it makes it really competitive between those respective pairs. I think there's just a little bit more cow up here, the Charolais cow, and young lady, you're going to lead this class off and be our class winner today with that pair. Like I said, one that bounces up really, really well. A cow that stayed just in great condition, in great shape, as old as she is. I think a female that is really just good in terms of her condition. She hasn't maybe milked down quite as hard as the Shorthorn. Really high-performing calf there by her side. A really nice pair. The Shorthorn, I think, again, just makes it really competitive because you look at the calf here, and there's a lot of quality in that calf. And young lady, I'd be really, really excited to have a Shorthorn calf like that. I think you have a lot to be proud of. I think that cow is taking it maybe a little bit harder, just milking down maybe just a touch more. And so from a condition standpoint, she may not be maybe quite as good condition as the heifer directly in front of you. But don't let those things discourage you. I think you've got a phenomenal cow-calf pair, a lot of things to be proud of. Really competitive class. Congratulations to both those exhibitors.
Two really good cow-calf pairs there. First goes to Delaney Yates with a purple. Second to Tana Damewood, also with a purple. Our judge is now selecting the overall grand champion cow-calf pair. Coming into the ring is Carson Poston, the winner of the first class. And Delaney Yates, the winner of the second class. Two really nice pairs right here. Sponsoring the trophy and that for the champion cow-calf pair is Great Western Bank, and reserve is sponsored by Dave and Kathy Hart of Hart Farms. Thanks again to all of the sponsors that are supporting our 4-H kids here at the Montgomery County Fair.
As we finish up here in our cow-calf show, I think again Bob said it really, really good at the beginning when they came in. Both just high quality and exceptionally good cow-calf pairs that we've had. Again, maybe not just a tremendous deal of numbers, but a lot of quality that's been represented. I think you young people have something to be proud of here in your projects and something to take home and continue to build your herd around, and really excited for what you guys will be able to do with these pairs. I think there's some trade-off between these respective pairs. I think the young lady up front, just a really long, smooth type of female. I really like her stoutness. I like her structural build. Love those attributes about her. Maybe even just on an individual basis, just like to square her up in her teeth structure just a touch. Maybe from my perspective, bring her down just in regards to her hip height. But that's my preference. Again, I grew up in the West Texas, a panhandle, and cows had to be a little bit more moderate and had to thrive on pretty much a whole lot of nothing. And so where you guys here in Iowa have an abundance of grass and can run more cattle per acre than we could back in West Texas, maybe that changes the conversation and you can find a female like that. She fits the environment here maybe just a little bit better, and she's got a great calf there by her side. The pair right in behind her, really moderate type of cow. She's got tons of ribs, she's got tons of body, she's got tons of practicality. She would fit into the environment that I talked about where I grew up, and you'd probably be a really low maintenance type of cow that you wouldn't have to just supplement and do a whole lot too. I love her teeth structure and udder placement. That's probably the thing that lures me in the most. She's got a nice high performing calf there by her side as well, but I'm just really drawn to the balance and the parts of that female. She's got a good female look. I like her moderation. I'm really impressed with a lot of things about that respective pair. Young lady, you're going to have our champion. Congratulations.
Champion cow-calf goes to Delaney Yates. Now coming in to compete for reserve is Donna Damewood. Congratulations, Delaney.
The short-horn pair comes in for reserve conversation, and again, I think that female milled down maybe just a little bit harder and a little bit tougher condition, but I think she's really correct in her teeth structure and her other placement as well. I think a female that she's got a great female look up front, and yet she supports that with just an exceptionally high-quality calf there by her side. A really nice pair there. For reserve contention, I think it gets maybe a little bit closer, and I think both of these pairs are represented by high-quality calves. I think you young people can go do and just be proud of the cattle that you have, and maybe just go back and do what fits your operation. I think that's the most important thing you guys can take away, because what you might be trying to do in your breeding program might be entirely different than what you're trying to do in your breeding program. And so it's kind of just what fits this judge in his opinion today. There's a certain type of cow that fits me maybe a little bit better, and that's more of a more moderate type of cow that's a little lower input, and I think the shorthorn pair fits that maybe just a little bit better for me today. That pair will be reserved. Congratulations to them. Really competitive cow-calf pair show.
Reserve cow-calf goes to Donna Damewood. Again, sponsoring the champion was Great Western Bank. Sponsoring reserve was Dave and Kathy Hart. We'll have 4 feeder calves now in our feeder calf show. 2 of them won't be on your program. So we got Madison Doyle, Carson Poston, Donna Damewood, and Delaney Yates. 4 head in the feeder calf show. Sponsoring the champion feeder calf trophy is Miller Financial Group. Okay, those that were in the top 10 rate of gain, please come to the show ring. The top 10 rate of gain kids, come to the show ring for your recognition. That's Carson Poston, Riley Jacobs, Devin Isaacson, John Peterson, Austin Poston, Olivia Jacobs, John Peterson, Taylor Yates, and Laney DeFries. But those kids come to the ring here.
Lineup of cattle here in our feeder cattle as they came to the cows and within the cow calf care division. And so getting up here and line them back up changes things around maybe a little bit more. Definitely a lot of quality in this lineup from first to fourth. For me, we talked about the shorthorn calf and all the quality that he exhibits, and I think that holds true out here in this contemporary group. Love his balance marks, love his ribbon body. I think a calf that has tons of power and tons of upside potential. I think you've got a fun project to work with young lady. Let me see. Fun to see what that shorthorn calf turns out to be like. Then I'm taking away ruffle faced. I think the effort here is one that's just really long-sided, really long-fronted, one that has a lot of tone and structurally sound as well. Maybe in comparison, maybe not the same body shape as the little bull calf I had, but definitely think this female exhibits just a great deal of balance and a lot of upside as well. It'll be fun to see what that one looks like as she continues to grow and mature. The one that's going to be third comes off a really nice cow. I think a calf that has a lot of performance. Big and really dimensional. I really appreciate those things about her. Maybe as we get her on the other calves, I don't know if she maybe balances up quite as well as those two other cattle, and because of that, probably needs to be third within this respective class. Young ladies, that's going to be next. We talked about this one still being a really high-performing type of calf for the young lady. In comparison, kind of just a lighter bone calf that gives up some body and some power in comparison, but a nice calf that should make a really good future prospect for this young lady. Congratulations to all those exhibitors on their feeder calf projects.
In our feeder calf class division, first went to Tana Damewood. Second to Delaney Yates. Third, I got to read my writing here. Madison Doyle was fourth, and third was, excuse me, I'm all mixed up right here now. First was Damewood, second was Poston, third was Yates, fourth was Doyle. Real nice group of feeder calves. Here comes the kids that are the cattle feeders right here in the top 10 in Montgomery County. First, we got them all in there, 3, 6, 9, one more, or someone got 2. First place, Karsten Poston. There she is. Her calf had a gain of 3.71. Congratulations. Second went to Riley Jacobs. Third went to Devin Isaacson. Fourth to John Peterson. You're pretty timid there, John, among all them good-looking gals there. Fifth went to Aniston Poston. Sixth went to Olivia Jacobs. Sixth to seventh to Hannah Witten. Eighth to John Peterson. Ninth to Taylor Yates. And 10th to Laney DeFries. That's the kids that their cattle gained the best in the top 10 in Montgomery County. Congratulations, kids. Did an excellent job. Hey, come here, young ladies. Come here. You kids made it in the top 10 feeding your calves. You want to tell me what you fed them and how much and all of this and that?
I don't know.
You don't know? Did you have some help feeding them?
Not really.
Not really? Did they just eat themselves?
Well, my dad fed them.
Oh, your dad helped you feed them? Well, that's good. Is your dad here?
He's putting the calf away.
He's putting the calf away. How old are you?
11.
You're 11 years old. Where do you go to school?
Velisca.
Velisca? 11 years old, that'd be what, 5th grade?
Yeah,
You get all A's?
kind of.
She's honest. She said kind of. Hey, glad to see you here at County Fair. You did an excellent job. Is this your buddy here?
Yes.
What's your name?
Aniston.
I see. Boy, that's a pretty name. Where'd you get the freckles?
My great-grandma. My dad's grandma.
Your great-grandma had them, huh? What grade are you in?
I'm going into 6th.
You're going into 5th grade? What do you like best about the Montgomery County Fair?
Showing.
Showing? Hey, I like you. You kids did an excellent job. You bring a lot of calves next year to the county fair. Let's give them a nice round of applause. 2 real nice young ladies there. Okay. Now we start our beef show. First class here is Brett Hart. He's just a beginner. Boy, he's a good-looking guy, isn't he? Brett's calf weighed 1,275 pounds. He had a rate of gain of 259. One thing about it in our steer show, now to be eligible for a blue, they got to gain 2.4. In the market heifers, they got to gain 2.2, and to be eligible for a blue. 2.4 in the steers, 2.2 in the market heifers. Sponsoring our champion beginner beef is Body Basics. We want to thank them and all of the sponsors that we've had all day today and those that are still to come. Wished we had more beginners for you, but we got a good one in here.
As we get started in our market show, a really nice class here, and a young man in our beginner beef class that has a really nice cap there. I think the young man does a great job here with his project, first time with a big beef project. And so, young man, I commend you on your efforts. I hope this isn't the last, and I hope it's the first of many good steers that you're going to continue to beat out and projects that you'll continue to have for many years to come. This calf, I think, as you get right in behind him, from a muscularity standpoint, pretty stout, pretty powerful type of calf. I think one very appropriate in regards to his weight from a condition standpoint, just about spot on. And so from the market fundamentals, I think you've got a lot of things really correct. And then as we talk about the show attributes that make one maybe a little bit more elite, I think as you get off the side of him, balances it up really pretty intriguingly. I think just a nice fat steer. I think he's got a lot of show attributes and a lot of fundamental things that you like just from a muscularity and composition standpoint. So he checks a lot of boxes, and I think a really nice calf there to be your first market beef project. Congratulations on this young man being a class winner. Good calf.
Our beginner beef champion is Brett Hart. Good job there, Brett. Got good brakes on that calf, too. Again, sponsor for the champion beginner beef is Body Basics. Brett, come up here. This is our first class of market heifers. We got Briar Fisher. His heifer weighs 1045, gained 257. Jolene Fisher, her heifer weighed 1067 and gained 246. Brett, what do you think about showing calves?
It was pretty fun.
Pretty fun? You, what'd you feed him?
Show feed.
Show feed? You, how many did you bring to the fair?
Only one.
Just one, but you brought really a good one. And I'm really tickled you came. You did an outstanding job of showing your calf. You had him presented well, and you did a super job of feeding him. Good job there.
Thank you.
Bring two next year, will you? Atta boy. Did a super nice job there. Not easier when you're little like him and you got a 1,300 pound steer, you know, in the ring, but he had him broke, and that proves he's worked on him. Again, this is our first class of market heifers, Briar Fisher and Jolie Fisher. Got a family feud right here, right, Briar? I remember when you were just a little guy showing cattle. You've really grown up.
we get into our market heifer show, a nice competitive class. I think there's some trade-offs between the pair, but I think there's one that just exhibits us a touch more quality. The young man's Bronco base heifer there is going to lead the class off with. I think from a muscularity standpoint, she's definitely more expressive in her shape. I think she's one that really gets around the gray heifer just in terms of her look and her balance. I'd maybe like to set her down just a touch more comfortable in her rear leg. She's a little lighter weight. I'd like to see her just a touch further along from a composition or condition standpoint. And maybe that's where you could make a case for the great heifer that the young lady brings us. A really big body type of female that handles with more finish, and she's more appropriate in that regard. And from that standpoint, I like her a great deal. She's a female that has some muscle and some dimension in her as well. I guess just from an aesthetic standpoint, gets a little bit frailer in her bone work. Maybe a female that just gets a touch more rigid in her hind leg placement. But a nice pair of heifers there. Congratulations to both those exhibitors.
In our first class of market heifers, first goes to Briar Fisher with a purple, second to Jolie Fisher with a blue. Now in our second class of market heifers, Madison Doyle. Her heifer weighs 1151 and had a gain of 2.18. The young lady with the smoky heifer coming in is Carson Poston. Her heifer weighed 1180 and had a gain of 2.41. And then Delaney Yates. Her heifer weighed 1183 and a gain of 258. That's our second class of market heifers.
aligning that with being the most appropriate from a condition standpoint. I think that's where she probably has the big advantage within this respective lineup. She beats a square shape right in behind her shoulder. I think she's one that just has more rib and more body and more stoutness to her bone work. I like all those things about this female. I guess in a perfect world, I'd probably just clean her up to her front end just a touch. But female from that point back is just so graphical in her body shape. She's so powerful in her kind, and I think the combination of just power and composition brings that female there to the front. Heifer that comes in next, I think a heifer that still has some dimension. She has some width there to her inset. I think a female that has a really big loin. I don't know that she's maybe quite as bold right in behind her shoulder. I don't know that she's as stout in terms of her body and her bone work. I think the bigger issue is we get her pulled to lead. Maybe a female gets just a little shorter coupled and touch off in her top line. Maybe some aesthetic and some balance things that we'd like to change in her, but fundamentally just a really correct type of female. Heifer that's coming in next, definitely one that's more extended in her kind. A really long body heifer that definitely is maybe just a touch longer, looser striding out of her hip and her hock. I like those things about her. I just wish she complemented maybe with a touch more power and a touch more muscle. Step right in behind the cattle. She gets just outhorsed and outmassed in a really stout lineup. A good trio of females. Congratulations.
That was our second class of market heifers. Winning the class is Karsten Poston with a purple. Second went to Delaney Yates with a blue. Third went to Madison Doyle with a red. This is our third and last class of market heifers. First one into the ring was Riley Jacobs. Her heifer weighs 1328, had a gain of 3.63. The next young lady there is Chloe Bruce. Her heifer weighs 1363, had a gain of 2.79. It's our last class of market heifers.
Two really nice females here in this last class, and I think there's one that just exhibits a lot of quality. Up exceptionally well. The young lady here in the back is going to have her class winner. Young lady, you can go ahead and pull forward here. I think a female that is really stout. She's really powerful. I think a female that is really correct from a finish standpoint, and yet she takes it to another level. Just some of those elite attributes of just balance and quality. I think she offers some of those, especially as we get her planted instead up on the side. Really like a lot of things about her. It makes a nice class winner. Maybe not the most perfect in the way she handles her hind leg, but it's getting really nitpicky on one that I think is really nice. Heifer that comes in second right in behind her, fundamentally she's really correct. Dimensional type of female that has a nice tandem of muscle and finish. I think a female, as you get off the side of her, just gets a touch cleaner in her look. Heifer that needs to sit down with a more attractive hip and hind leg maybe in comparison to get around the heifer ahead of her. But a really tough competitive class. my congratulations to both these young ladies.
Two real nice heifers in there, both purples. First goes to Chloe Bruce, second to Riley Jacobs. Our judge now will be selecting the grand champion market heifer. First class winner was Briar Fisher. Second class winner was Carson Poston. Third class winner, Chloe Bruce.
Here for our market heifer division, I think there's three really nice females within this respective division, and I think all three of them check the boxes of just being very fundamentally correct for their weight and where they're at in this stage of the game. The lighter weight heifer up front is definitely one you appreciate some quality in her. I think a female that offers a ton of muscle shape and expression. Maybe she's not as far along as the two other cattle right in behind her from a finish or a composition standpoint. I think if you put just a few more pounds on her, I think that'll come with time. Maybe she's not, from a market standpoint, just the most ideal today, but I think that's a really nice female that offers a great deal of quality as you get off the side of them. I think that makes a really nice market heifer for the young man. I think he's got a lot to be proud of. Fundamentally, there's a lot to like about the smoke heifer. She's ultra big bodied. She's really practical. Definitely one that is really stout in her bone work. I think one from a composition standpoint that's really spot on as we work into a pair of cattle that offer heavier weights. She is just a touch plainer, maybe up through her front end, and I think a female that as she gets out on the go, there's some things that you get maybe a little bit nitpicky on in her shoulder, but from that point back, she's really smooth and correct in the way that she handles. Just a really nice type of female. The black heifer that comes out of the third class, I think probably the freshest appearing type of heifer. I think she's dialed in from a presentation standpoint. The young lady's done a nice job with her. Really long frontage. She's fresher than the heifer directly ahead of her. I think one that feeds maybe a square and more powerful back shape right into the back of her shoulder, and I think she's more expressive. Yet with her headed expression, she still is really just correct from a finish standpoint. So she checks the boxes there, and then she takes it maybe to another level and offering maybe just a touch more look and a touch more freshness up to her front end. If you were to make a strong case to maybe beat her, I think you would do so on the premise that she's maybe not as just big-bodied and impractical. Back through the lower part of her rib and her flank, I definitely think she could set down maybe just a touch better in her rib-like placement. But again, I told you folks ringside that I was getting really, really critical on her on an individual basis. I still think she offers the most quality in the lineup. Young lady, you're going to have our champion. Congratulations.
Champion market heifer goes to Chloe Bruce. Riley Jacobs will be coming in now to compete for reserve. Congratulations, Chloe. An excellent market heifer division here today. Not many, but the quality's been awfully good. Champion Market Heifer is sponsored by AgriVision, John Deere out here. Thanks to them for sponsoring the Champion Market Heifer.
Young lady that was second in that last class brings us a nice, again, very fundamentally correct heavyweight market heifer, and I think she checks the boxes from that standpoint, but maybe from an aesthetic standpoint, she gives up some quality to the two other cattle directly ahead of her, and yet, again, there was one that I thought maybe rivaled some things that we liked in our champion and maybe some things that we can improve upon, and I think there's one that just very fundamentally correct, one I think makes a nice market heifer out here, young lady with a smoke heifer. She's going to be our reserve champion. Congratulations.
Reserve goes to Karsten Poston. Congratulations to all of you kids that showed market efforts. Good job. Now we'll be starting our home-raised market steers. We'll have 3 classes. In the first class, John Peterson, he's the only one in the first class. His steer weighed 1086 and had a gain of 3.11.
As we get started in our steer show, the young man brings us a nice single entry. A really long body type of steer, one that reads really smooth as you get off the side of it. I appreciate those things about this steer. I think maybe one a little bit on the lighter side, and use just a touch more time. I think from a finish standpoint, you need to use maybe just a touch more on it. And then on an individual basis, I probably like to see just a touch bolder at time and a touch more powerful. But nice type of steer, one that maybe nice fast steer for the young man as he puts on a couple more pounds. Really nice single entry in this lightweight class. His first steer show off. Congratulations.
Winner of that class is John Peterson. John received a blue for his steer. Our second class of home-raised steers. Young lady coming into the ring is Jolie Fisher. Her steer weighed 1153 and gained 3 pounds a day. Next young lady coming into the ring is Kyla Hart. Her steer weighed 1179, had a gain of 2.29. Young lady with the red steer coming in, Hannah Whitten. Her steer weighed 1187 and gained 3.11. That's our second class of home-raised steers.
winter, one that wins pretty easy, and that would be the young lady's black steer here up front. I think one that balances up really well. I think a steer that is really expressive in his kind, but more impressively, he's just built more correct in his skeleton than the other two directly behind him. I think a steer that could use maybe a touch more just overall body and dimension, but I think a nice, fundamentally correct type of steer that balances up exceptionally well and offers a quality look. I think it gets a little bit closer here between 2 and 3, and maybe you can make a case to switch the pair. I guess I see more muscle probably in the black and white steer that's going to come in 2. I think he's maybe just a touch trimmer on an individual basis, and I probably prefer that. He's not too trim, and he's compositionally correct, and I think he's probably maybe not as just heavy conditioned as the red one following right in behind him, but definitely think a steer that probably a touch higher cut ability, maybe one that still likes to change his foot shape and the way that he gets out of his rear leg, give that steer just a shot more quality. The moderate red steer here is one that is ultra big bodied. I think his big advantage is he's got more finish on him. Unfortunately, he's taking it maybe just a little bit too extreme where he doesn't complement that with enough muscle shape and just power. I'd like to tone him back just a touch. He's maybe just a touch overdone, and then loosen that steer up in his rear leg placement. Tough competitive class. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Nice class of steers there. First went to Jolie Fisher with a purple, second to Kyla Hart with a red, third to Hannah Whitten with a red. Now we'll have our third class of home-raised steers. Madison Doyle, Laney DeFries, Aniston Poston. 3 steers in this class. Our third class of home-raised steers. Again, helping in the ring today is Mr. Jake Gillespie down here, the south end, and Austin Sorensen. Austin, keep him in line there. He's our beef superintendent. Him and his wife, Sydney, right here, do a good job. Let's give Austin and his wife and Jake a nice round of applause. They've helped the kids here, and it's not easy being a beef superintendent, is it, Austin? Get chewed a little bit? No, they're all good here in Montgomery County, aren't they? Good people. Amy Lydell, come over here. Again, we want to thank KCSI for videotaping the show here for the people at home. You want to tell a little bit about the online auction tomorrow? Maybe a lot of them, maybe haven't heard about it. If you would tell them, that'd be nice.
So we're going to go to a virtual auction tomorrow. Creston Livestock Market is going to be hosting it through cattleusa.com. The Extension Office has a great instructions if you get on the Montgomery County Extension Office website. It'll list out exactly, but we are going to do pictures of the kids and everything that they exhibited. So each kid will come through one time, so we hope that many of our typical buyers will still get on and support these youth. They've had a rough year too, just like the rest of us. Thanks.
Thanks, Amy. And again, thank you as the president of the Fair Board. You've done a lot of work. Had to answer a lot of questions this year, right? Keep up the good work, you and your crew. Two purple and a blue.
A nice steer that leads this class off with, and I think one that does so pretty quickly. I think of the pair of just bigger bodied and heavier muscled cattle that work their way up front. I think the one that we lead off with is just a touch higher quality. I like the way he presents himself from the side with just a great deal of balance. A steer that's just really practical. He's really good looking, a very fundamentally correct type of steer that wins pretty easily for me. Steer that comes in next, I think one the young lady is struggling with a little bit, but the steer that from a market standpoint, he's really correct. He's got a good shape down his top. I think a steer really powerful as you get in behind him. I think he's a touch stouter down through his lower quarter than the steer directly in front of him on an individual basis, but it's from the side where he probably gets beat. A steer that just gets a little bit more round in his kind. Maybe like to level him up at his top. Definitely longer and leveler type of steer here that comes in third. I think one that just needs more muscle and power to get more competitive within that respective class. A good class of steers. Congratulations to those calves who have the gate.
Three really nice steers in that class of market steers. First went to Laney DeFries. Second to Aniston Poston. Third to Madison Doyle. Two purple and a blue. We have one calf in our final class of home-raised market steers. That's Carson Poston. Her steer weighs 1501, gain of 3.71. There's your rate of gain champion of the Montgomery County Fair. Carson Poston with her steer, 3.71 and weighs 1501. Good job, young lady. First in receiving a purple in that class is Carson Poston. Our judge now will be selecting our champion and reserve home-raised market steer. Winner of our first class is John Peterson. His steer weighed 1086. Winner of the second class is Jolie Fisher. Her steer weighs 1153. Winner of the third class is Lainey DeFries. Her steer weighs 1340. And winner of the last class, Carson Poston. Her steer weighs 1501. They're now showing for champion home-raised steer. The sponsor of this division is Rod and Janine Hart.
As we bring each of our class winners out here for our champion home race steer, awesome lineup, and I think the premise behind the home race steer class is really unique, and I think a lot of quality that's represented. So I commend you young people in raising your projects and making it a home race deal first and foremost. But then as you get out here, I think you've got something to be proud of in a really competitive lineup. Young man there with the first steer, really lightweight steer. I think a really long body type of steer, one that has some depth of ribs and body. I like those things about him. From a quality standpoint, I think one that just gets a touch plainer in terms of his look and his balance from the side. I maybe like to just stouten him up in his feature in comparison to a couple of other cattle and just give him a shot more time and weight. But a nice individual steer that wins the first class. Young lady that wins class 2, I think from a balance standpoint, you could really make a good case for this steer being competitive in the lineup, and I think he is because of that. He reads really correct at his top line. I think a steer that reads really correct out of his hip and his hind leg in comparison to the 2 other cattle behind him. Maybe not just as far along in terms of his red body and composition, but I think that's a very correct steer. He reads fresh, he reads youthful. I think a steer that has tons of shape, tons of product, maybe just gets outmatched by a couple other cattle in this group, but I think a steer that exhibits a great deal of quality. A steer that wins the third class, I think a steer that's really fresh. He's compositionally correct. He balances up really nice. I think a steer that can step right in behind him. I guess my biggest complaint would be he's got tons of power up high in his top and there in his pin set, maybe down through his lower leg and his stifle, maybe like to beat him up just a touch, but that's getting really critical. I think a steer that is ultra fresh in his composition. He reads really correct in his body. Maybe just a couple of small areas where you'd like to change him, but I think that's a really nice type of steer. Then we get into the big heavyweight, definitely one that has tons of red body and power and bone. Love those attributes about him. I think a heavier weight steer that is just a little past prime, to be completely honest. I maybe like to see him just dial back to be just 12 o'clock today, and I think that's where he gets beat within this respective lineup. I think there's one that's just a touch more dialed in. I think there's one just presented really nicely, and I think one that's just right on target today. Young lady in front of me out of class 3 is going to be our champion. Congratulations.
Champion home race steer goes to Lainey DeFries. Aniston Poston will be bringing her steer in to compete for reserve. Again, sponsoring this division are Rod and Janine Hart.
think it gets a little bit closer. The young lady that comes out of the class, our champion did, brings her steer in here, and one that settling down a little bit better and starting to come into his own. I know the young lady struggled with that steer quite a bit, but it's good to have him back in the lineup. I think it gets competitive between him and the two steers on either side of him. I think you can make a strong case for any of the three. I love the look and balance of the quality of the lighter weight steer the young lady has. I just don't know that he's as stout, as powerful as he probably needs to be in a truly market show. And so in saying that, probably just runs out of gas in comparison to a couple of those other cattle. But you have just a touch more weight. Probably the most appropriate in terms of his weight, his finish, his muscularity. The three things this deer does exceptionally well. Aesthetically, he gets just a touch plainer. Maybe not as attractive up through his front end, the balance out of his head. He's right where he needs to be from a market standpoint, and that's probably one of the more ultra power. He's got just a little bit more mature in his look. I think this deer has in terms of finish and composition. He's got some aesthetic things to like, probably just get a little on the heavier weight or more mature side for me, and maybe just like to just push him back to for him that it kind of comes to his demise, and I guess we're left with three cattle that you've got some things that you really like and some things that some big holes, but being a market show, there's one I think right in the middle. Congratulations to her.
Reserve goes to Aniston Poston. Good job, kids. All of you did a super nice job, brought some high quality cattle here in your home raised division. Now we'll go to our purchase division. We'll have three classes of purchased. First young man in the ring is John Peterson. His steer weighed 1148, had a gain of 3.25. Next young lady is Devin Isaacson. Her steer weighed 1185 and had a gain of 259. Third one into the ring, the little gal, Taylor Yates. Her steer weighs 1235 and had a gain of 3.10. That's our first class of purchased steers.
class into the purchase show. I think the young lady wins here with a black steer, and I think it's kind of close maybe here up top. The black steer that we start with is just more powerful, really big back type of steer that is really dimensional as you get in behind him. Because of it, it's not surprising that he's just shaped more correct in his rib and his body. You get kind of critical on him as he gets out on the go. I like to just set him down more comfortable, and his hawk and his faster. Definitely think those steer that is ultra powerful, and because of that dimension, steer that needs to win. Steer that comes in next, I think you can make a case for him getting around the other one from his hip and hind leg set as he gets out on the go. Probably handles his rear leg a touch more comfortable than the steer that leads off. That steer that's very appropriate in regards to his finish. I think the biggest part is you get off the side of him, he needs more depth to his flank to balance him out better from the side. I think a steer in comparison, maybe just not as just bold and powerful in his shape up high, but definitely a nice fundamentally correct type of steer. Really expressive type of steer that comes in third, a really long-sided steer that has a lot of shape as you get right in behind him. As we get this calf on the move, he probably is the most restricted out of his hip and his rear leg from a structure standpoint. Just like to set him down more comfortable as he gets out on the go. A nice competitive class. Again, congratulations to those exhibitors.
Real nice class of purchase steers to start our purchase division. First in that class went to Taylor Yates with a purple. Second to Devin Isaacson with a purple. Third to John Peterson with a blue. This is our second class of purchase steers here. First one in is Olivia Jacobs. Her steer weighs 12.99 and gained 3.24. The black and white steer, Chloe Bruce. Her steer weighs 13.03, had a gain of 2.98. And the black baldy steer, Lainey DeFries. Her steer weighed 13.07 and had a gain of 3.06. This is our second class of purchase steers.
less, especially up top, and as we circle the cattle back around, I think that's where the leadoff steer presents himself probably the best to me. I think the top two are really, really nice, and there's some trade-offs between that respective pair. For me, the black and white steer that leads off, probably just a touch better balance. I think a steer that just reads a touch smoother there from his shoulder back at his top line. I prefer his hip and hind leg set in comparison to the power steer directly in behind him. I think kind of a sharper appearing type of steer. He's really up-headed, and yet he's really fresh in his condition. Really smooth blending type of steer that just balances up really, really nice from the profile. I like that he can combine the fact that he's not the most powerful, and that goes to the steer right in behind him, but he sure has enough for me. I think he takes his what muscle he has and then computational correctness, the correctness of those two things, and combines it with just the most elite look, so it makes a really nice steer there to lead off. I really correct his power steer. I love his dimension. This guy's got a huge back and just so dimensional out of his hip. That's where he makes a strong case to win. I think hip forward, that steer's made really correct to get into his hip. I think it gets more exaggerated as he gets on the go, but seriously, he gets just a touch rounder and maybe not quite as correct in the way that he's made his hip structure, in the way that he comes down and sets steer. Love the red. Handles with plenty of correctness of finish to him. I think maybe a steer that just gets out fast and gives up some quality in comparison, but a nice fundamentally correct steer that closes. Good classic game. Congratulations.
Nice class of market steers there in our purchase division. First went to Chloe Bruce with a purple. Second to Lainey DeFries with a purple. Third to Olivia Jacobs with a blue. That's our last class of market steers, purchase market steers. Slade Graham, his steer weighed 1407, had a gain of 2.97. Devin Isaacson, her steer weighed 1490 and had a gain of 3.26. That's our last class of purchase steers.
Really nice pair of steers in this last class, and we're going to leave them the way they walked in. The shorthorn appearing steer is going to lead us off, and I think because he offers more quality from the side, a steer that definitely balances up better, is more correct in his top line, more extended and more youthful, even though he's a touch mature, he's still more youthful than the steer behind him. Definitely think a steer that has plenty of muscle, he's compositionally correct, but I think most importantly, he just has a shot more quality. That's what's going to allow him to lead the class. Steer that comes in second, really moderate type of steer. I think a steer that reads really stout in his pin set. As you get in behind the cattle, he actually has more shape down through his lower quarter and stifle than the shorthorn steer directly in front of him. I just wish he combined his added just shape and muscularity with just a fresher and more youthful look. We changed some aesthetic and some balance things about this steer. I think it could get more competitive. He just gets touch off in his top line, needs to set down just a touch better in his foot shape and touch more comfortable on the go. But good competitive class there to close. Congratulations.
That was our third class of market purchase steers. First went to Slade Graham with a purple, second to Devin Isaacson. Our judge now will be selecting our champion and reserve purchase market steer. Our sponsor for the champion purchase market steer is the Red Oak Express newspaper. Thanks to them. First one in the ring is Taylor Yates. His steer weighs 1235. The next one into the ring is Chloe Bruce. Her steer weighs 1303. The next one in the shorthorn steer is Slade Graham. His steer weighs 1407.
Winners, I definitely think all three of them deserving to be out here. The young lady steer that wins the first class, one that has some shape and some expression. Maybe he's not just as sound and maybe as correct as the pair of steers directly behind him, but I think a steer that still bounces up pretty well, a steer that has some muscle to him. I think a steer that just likes to change some structural. A steer that gets just a touch off there in his rear leg, but I really like just the power in that guy. Steer that comes out of the second class, and I think that was a really competitive class, or at least those top two were. The black and white steer is one that comes out and is one that demands your attention. I love his presence and the profile that guy offers from the side. He's really moderate, yet he balances up really well. He's a shorter canning steer, and I don't know that he's going to be much bigger than what he is, but I definitely think that steer balances up right now exceptionally well. I think he's really fresh, and because of all those things, I like that guy quite a bit. And then the shorthorn steer wins that heavyweight class, a really nice heavier weight steer. I think he's one that has been presented really nicely. He's got tons of rib and body. From a balance standpoint, I like him quite a bit. Maybe like to change his hip and hind leg, and in comparison, maybe a steer that just isn't quite as powerful as the steer directly in front of him, and maybe not quite as fresh. So in saying that, there's one that hit me really hard, one I like quite a bit. Young lady here in the middle of the black and white steer will have her champion. Congratulations.
Champion purchased steer goes to Chloe Bruce. Now competing for reserve, coming into the ring is Lainey DeFries.
to change in that regard, but that's getting really picky on really nice steer. I think that one exhibits the second most quality. That one's my second favorite here in our box show. Young lady's going to be our reserve. Congratulations.
Reserve purchase steer goes to Laney DeFree. Congratulations to all the kids that showed really good steers in this division. Our judge now will be selecting the overall Grand Champion Market Animal. While we're waiting here, I think we need to give another round of applause to the 3 young ladies down there by the desk from the Extension office. Stand up. Thank you for all the hard work you've done. It's been a troubling deal, but you've came through with flying colors. Thank you. This will be for all of the marbles now in the market beef show. First one into the ring is a champion beginner. That was Bret Hart. His steer weighed 1,275 pounds. Next one into the ring is the champion market heifer shown by Chloe Bruce. And we got a substitute showman on the end of the halter there. Champion home raised steer is Laney DeFries. And champion purchase steer is Chloe Bruce. That's our lineup for the overall Grand Champion market animal. Okay, after our judge selects as a grand and reserve market animal, then we'll go into our showmanship division. They're going to start with the senior exhibitors. So if you want to get your calves here on the south end of the show ring, then we can go right into that after our judge gets done here. Sponsoring the overall Grand Champion Market Beef is Andrew Hirschberg of Vitaverm Minerals. The overall reserve Grand Market Beef is sponsored by Lydell Auction Services. Thanks to those people. Well, as our judge is looking through his lineup here, I want to say one thing. We need to give our judge, Marcus Arnold, a nice round of applause. He gave each and every exhibitor time, and he looked over their projects really, really well. And let's give him a nice round of applause. It's not easy finding a real good judge, but he's a good one right there. He's what you call a keeper. Again, thanks to Austin and Sydney, the beef superintendents. Hang in there, Brett. It's almost over. My golly, he's going to make a good football player. Iowa State better sign him up. You can hang on like that, you'll be okay, Brett.
Well, as we finish up here with our market show, I think that first and foremost, let's give these kiddos a big round of applause. These guys definitely deserve it. You guys have heard me talk the cattle enough, but I'll make just a couple of brief comments before we work our way into showmanship. And I've noticed we've had a lot of younger showmen that have come in, like we have a first-time showman here, and the young man's doing a great job. But I hope you don't get discouraged by steer acting up on you, because I think you're doing a nice job, and I hope that you come back and make this a project that you want to do year after year, because I think you're doing a nice job with it. And I noticed that we've had a lot of young people show today, and young people that may not be here, one thing that I would tell you young people is don't give up and don't get discouraged. I promise you this is the best thing that you young people can do, just to get involved, and I promise you there's no better activity, youth activity, that you young people can engage in. I know here, especially in the cattle ring, you guys have put a lot of time and effort into these projects, and we got to the month of February, and the last show that I judged prior to this one was the heifer show in San Antonio, and then no more than 2 to 3 weeks later, come to find out some of the other big state shows in Texas, like Houston and Austin, had to cancel their shows, and then Oklahoma had to cancel their shows, and then you see more regional shows get canceled, and junior national shows get moved around, and it's been a chaotic year, and I think you guys ringside would agree with that. I promise you, young people, you'll look back in the year of 2020, and this will be a year you remember, maybe not for a lot of good reasons, but it'll be a year that you remember. But one thing that has held true is that you young people have continued to work with your projects. You've made the best with just a crazy situation, and I couldn't be more proud for the time and the effort that you guys have put into it. And win, lose, or draw here today, I hope that you're proud with your accomplishment. I hope that you're proud of the people that allowed this event to happen and the support that has gone into it. And I hope that you folks ringside recognize that and would give those guys a little bit of praise as well. And so, young people, I couldn't be more proud of you. I know that it's competitive. I'm super competitive, and if you win or lose, it's a part of it and one guy's opinion. I helped a young man there yesterday at our county show there in Winterset, and he was a senior his last go, and we found him a heifer there through my wife's family, brought the heifer up, and I helped this kid all year. We got to our last day and didn't get a piece of it. We missed out on the top 5. He ended up second behind the champion, and it was unfortunate that we couldn't go 3 deep in the Angus show because I think he'd have been 3rd overall. But it's part of it, and we had to swallow that. He came back and won showmanship. And so if you don't get along good here, just know that there's another judge who has a different opinion. And I promise you guys will get along really well. The second thing that I'll tell you, young people, is that get out and network and meet people. I promise you that there's a lot of good people in this industry and a lot of people that I haven't been fortunate enough to meet. But I was fortunate to have a dad that traveled all over the country as an ag teacher buying youth projects for FFA students in the state of Texas. And one place that we always stopped on our pig buying trip as he was buying animals for exhibitors was here in Red Oak, Iowa. And Mr. Kirk Swanson over there in the bleachers my dad, and we're a big supporter of his program. And through that relationship, he was always good to us. I know that not a lot of people show this, but we showed a lot of pigs and we showed a lot of cattle. And I think Kirk has a picture of me as probably a sixth grader. I don't know Kirk, but I was pretty young, and we had a reserve champion pin a two there at the Arizona National Show, and it was probably one of the neatest experiences that I had as a young person showing, and it was because of that gentleman up there. And so young people get out and meet people. It's awesome. The relationship that I've had with Kirk as I've grown into a professional career, he's been a big supporter, and I've really appreciated the relationship that I've had with him. Same with my wife, getting to meet Austin and his wife Cindy, and I know that they've done some stuff with my wife, and that's how we've gotten to meet them. And so the networking is getting kind of long-winded here, but the opportunities for networking through this show thing, guys, is pretty big if you allow it to. Go out, meet people. The show part of it's awesome, but get out and get to know people that you show with, not only here in your own county, but maybe some surrounding counties. And if you're fortunate to get outside of the state, meet some other people. But go out and enjoy what you do. Hope you guys have had a good experience. This year's show has been really awesome, and I'm glad that I had the privilege to be here. And saying all that, there's one steer that I thought kind of stood out in the group, and saying that one that hit me pretty hard. And I've talked enough. You guys know which one I like. The black and white one here's going to be the champion.
Grand champion market animals shown by Chloe Bruce. Congratulations to you, young lady. Now coming into the ring to compete for reserve is Laney DeFries's steer shown by Kennedy.
You ringside can make a case for, I think, the black steer ahead of him, and maybe even the market heifer for reserve contention. I think both of them have a strong argument, maybe to justify doing that. But I guess for me, maybe one that hits me probably the second hardest is one in a really close class. I think the one that's the power steer in the lineup is going to be our reserve champion. Young lady here with the other black and white one. Congratulations to her. She'll be our reserve.
Reserve goes to Laney DeFries, shown by her sister. Good job, all of you.